Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Hold on to the edge of your seats because you are in for quite the ride. It's time for the Granada Forum Radio Show. Right now, live on air with your host, Granada, Wendy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Granada Forum radio program. I'd like to thank my co-host, Mr. Nick Pearson.
Hey, hey.
And my wonderful producer, Mr. Richard Kane.
Hello there.
By the way, Revolution Radio, we are on freedomslips.com. That's www.freedomslips.com. And you can go to the Granada Forum YouTube channel and check us out and make us a subscriber. No problem. And you go and if you want to leave us, try to call us in tonight. It's 206-855-3056 here. We want to thank big time. We went to part of the expo today that we were at, and very happy. That's the Natural Health Products Show Expo West. That's the Natural Health Products Show Expo West, and we've had a really good time for the few hours we were there, and absolutely amazing, good companies, and we're going to mention a few. One company we want to really extend a warm is to Mr. Ola Loa, Greg Kunin, and we'll get Greg on as soon as possible. Greg, we had a little problem getting in, and Greg helped us out, so I want to thank him so much for that. You go to drinkyourvitamins.com. His is a kind of like a Energy C, but it's better. It's got way more multivitamins in their product, and he'll tell you all about it. But it's Ola Loa. Go to drinkyourvitamins.com. That's drinkyourvitamins.com. And for that, so the show seems to be growing here at Anaheim, and the Natural Health Product Show Expo West. You go on their website and check them out, and that's the National Product Show Expo West. Nick. Is a guy close, or we're...
What guy?
Nick Kunin.
Well, you said that you wanted us to call him at a certain time. We're waiting for you to say call him.
Oh, call him. Hey, call him. Let's call him. Get him on.
Like, what are you asking me for?
Really? Weird.
Sorry about that. I've had kind of a long couple of days. But since we're waiting for Greg to come on, let me thank a couple of people. We'd like to thank the Coral Group. Really nice people. Gave us some product, and Coral Calcium. And we can't thank them enough for Coral Calcium. And you go to www.coralcalcium.com. That's Coral, C-O-R-A-L, Calcium, C-A-L-C-I-com. Very good people. We'd also like to thank the New Nordic people. They're really good. They gave us some product. And go to newnordic.com. That's newnordic.com. And they've got various really good products, especially for skin and for eyes. You want to check them out, and good things are going on there. The Source Natural people were very, very nice to us. And you go to sourcenatural.com. That's www.sourcenatural.com. Go right on their website. And they're very, very nice people and gave us some stuff. I got some brain charge, so I'm looking forward to that one. Our good buddies at Energy C, we just can't say enough about them. They're really good people to us. Non-GMO, too. And no artificial colors or flavors. And no sugar. And so it's really good stuff. You go to energyc.com. That's energyc.com. And check out their Facebook. Yeah, I do have a little bit of a cough. Sorry about that.
A little bit.
Yep. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, see what happens when you don't drink your vitamins?
That's right. I think I got sick from the chemtrails, to be honest, Nick. I want to thank a water company, Alkaline Water pH 9.5, gave us a bunch of bottles outside, and we want to thank them. And that's alkalinewaterph.com.
We have Greg, I think.
Greg, are you there, handsome?
I am here. How are you?
Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Hey, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show and helping us out in a little bit of a tight squeeze and at the Natural Health Product Show Expo West. and we're extremely grateful. But can you tell our listening audience about your product and why it's so good? Because I'll be taking it to get well.
Well, we've made it easy for people to get their nutrients, their vitamins, minerals, amino acids, digestives, electrolytes, and osmolytes all in one. And you don't have to take any pills. Each of our packets mixes with about a half a glass of water and replaces roughly a handful or a dozen or so vitamin pills. But some very special things happen when you use an effervescent vitamin drink. First, the vitamin C complexes. So you get, with the chelated minerals in our product, you get mineral complexing and mineral ascorbate. So you get different forms of vitamin C. You get malates and glycinates, and really you're getting a much more bioavailable vitamin C. But you're also getting a product that supports the most important biochemical process in the body called methylation. I'm sure that a number of the listeners of your show have done, many of them have done genetic testing, like a 23andMe or a Genova, and much of the genetic testing that's being run these days is all methylation oriented. And the exciting thing about Ola Loa is that we support genetic testing on all those mutations that people are learning about. Of course, one of the other things about Ola Loa that's so special is the fact that, quite frankly, our industry, the vitamin industry in general, really has a dirty little secret, and that is put as little active ingredients in your product as possible and make people buy numerous different products. And frankly, I'm not a big fan of that, and I don't think your listeners are either. I want simple for people, and Ola Loa basically has got it all in one easy-to-use, simple product that mixes with a half a glass of water or juice and makes an absolutely delicious drink that you can do with or without food, on an empty stomach, and you'll feel the difference.
Yeah, and I can attest to that because I took that stuff a little while back, and after a few days on it, I was feeling really good. It's like I had all my energy back. My head was clear. If I had any achy joints, and believe me, I'm an expert on pain. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it was great. I felt really good.
Well, we have an amazing mineral formula that is a kind of a separate product from the multivitamin product. It's called Ola Loa Repair, and it's really a marvel. I broke my knee 3 times, and I've avoided surgery each and every time. And I was told, in fact, by one of the leading sports experts and who does knee replacements, etc. at University of California. He told me that if I didn't get surgery, there was a chance that I wouldn't be able to walk again as I got older. And I'm very happy to tell you that I've never had surgery. I don't have any pain, and my body works beautifully.
Well, did he tell you how much older? Because
this was about this was 10 years ago. I'm 55 now. I've had very, very serious injuries where I've had partially torn meniscus. I've had partially torn ACLs where I had a full-on locked knee, and it's really quite a phenomenon. I've had people.
Yeah, we're losing you, Greg.
Well, you're losing me. Oh my goodness, you're kidding me. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, you're going in and out.
That's strange. We must someone's playing with the phones, I think.
Yeah, maybe. But I was going to say, at some point, you're going to lose the ability to walk, like when you're 90 or 95. So I was saying, when the doctor told you, you might lose your walk. Okay, when? Tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they were concerned I was in imminent danger.
Right.
That was their concern, and certainly we've made it easy for you. I mean, the real exciting part about Ola Loa, my dad is one of the pioneers in the field of preventive medicine, and my dad pioneered vitamin testing back in the 1960s, and in the last 50 years, we have learned a great deal about human biochemistry, individual biochemistry, and how to get you to be at your optimum. And so what really is exciting about where we're coming from is that we've had an opportunity to be able to identify what is really going on within your cells, what's going on with your body. And we do it through an analysis based on three major areas of study: nutrition, pollution, and stress. I'm sure most of your listeners will understand, obviously, the connection between being malnourished or undernourished, pollution, of course, and being toxic. But the stresses are really the area of most interest and what actually led us to develop Ola Loa. So when we're talking stresses, we're talking about hormonal stress, what's going on with hormone function, and the real two big areas that are of most excitement for me is the area of methylation or genomic stress. What's going on with your genes? Where are the blockades, and what's interfering with your body's ability to use vitamins and to function properly? And the other side of the coin is what's called blood coagulation. Are you suffering from thick blood syndrome, hypercoagulation? My dad read a chapter for a book for Mitchell Genn on longevity medicine where he introduced the concept of thick blood, the major ager. And in a nutshell, I'll save your listeners a lot of grief. The bottom line is this: if you take all of our patients and take a look on a spreadsheet, those with the most clotting and the most clotting activity on the top of the list, and those with normal blood viscosity at the bottom of the list, everybody at the top of the list has one thing in common. These are people who are all disabled. They're people who suffer from chronic inflammation. They get sick and they stay sick. And you got to remember, if you suffer from low blood flow, as a default, you become malnourished. You're living through what's known as a state of ischemia. You lower the blood flow, you're lowering nutrient delivery to the cells, and in essence, your cells are being suffocated. So this has been a very big part of our work, and of course, it really led us into understanding the whole concept of methylation, in particular, the impact that methylation has on homocysteine, which is a very, very common indicator of low blood flow.
Right. And this is the part that I get excited about is because I'm not a scientist. I haven't done the same kind of research that you've done at your company and all that, but I get excited about it because it's something that actually works. I've taken different kinds.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because one of the simplest tests you can do. Oftentimes, I'll tell people, look, try the product, see how you feel. Most people are absolutely shocked when all of a sudden they take our product, and they tell me routinely, look, I've taken other vitamins, I've never felt the difference, and I always tell them, well, that's because they're not giving you adequate nutrient support, and B, you're not delivering the nutrients to the cell. You're doing a methylation test just by taking Ola Loa and seeing how you feel, and if you're responsive, you've just conducted your first methylation test. There's probably a pretty good sense that you're not methylating as well as you should be, and you're missing some of these key ingredients that support the methylation cycle. And it's very exciting when all of a sudden you give someone a drink of our product, and 30 minutes later they come back and they tell you, "Wow, I can't believe that. I feel like a different person." In fact, Mike Adams at Natural News wrote about me, and he's had really major experiences with people who have had this experience. He said it was really almost life-altering. He said he saw transformations with people within 30 or 40 minutes after they ingested one packet of Ola Loa. They were like different people.
Right. And the most I really got out of taking those other vitamins that you go to the pharmacy or some nutrition store or whatever, the only real thing that I got out of it was it made using a black light in the bathroom interesting.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Because it turns your pee fluorescent.
Yeah, that's not an uncommon phenomenon, and oftentimes the ingredients that they're using are ingredients that the body can't use readily. For example, with our B12, we are the only vitamin drink in the world that uses a very specialized form of B12 called hydroxy B12. This is the most available form of vitamin B12, which preferentially enters the cells, and once it's in the cell, it's able to conduct its magic and be transformed readily into the major active forms of B12, methyl and adenosyl B12. And so this makes a world of difference for people. It's also the only B12 that detoxifies cyanide, unregulated nitric oxide, ammonia, and sulfite. So this is very important for vegans who tend to run low B12 anyway and who are exposed to what are called cyanogenic foods like spirulina or cassava, which is loaded with cyanides. And you've got to be very careful, because if you're running low B12 and you have exposure to cyanide-rich foods, you can actually go blind. You can actually experience terrible, terrible side effects. So it is very, very exciting. You got to remember this concept of methylation. Methylation is really the fundamental foundation of life itself. Through the movement of these simple carbon molecules, your body converts this carbon into about 500 critical byproducts. Everything from your neurotransmitters to your energy regulators, to the master antioxidant of the body, what's called glutathione. And of course, a lot of the study in methylation these days is in the arena of DNA methylation, especially in regards to cancer, because it has such a powerful immune effect. You know, if your DNA gets corrupted, you start putting out rogue cells, which in essence is cancer, a collection of these abnormal cells which all of a sudden build up and can become, extraordinarily dangerous, obviously. So it plays a vital role in the arena of immune support, and in particular, what's called the thymidylate synthase pathway and thymidine. Very, very important.
Right. Yeah, and I remember when we interviewed you last year when we were at the Natural Health Products Expo, which, by the way, I wasn't able to go to because they changed a lot of the rules, but that's a different issue. But when we interviewed you last year, I had told you that I had given this I had ordered a bunch of it and given it to my mom, who had just gone through chemo and radiation for cancer. And what she had said was she didn't notice the difference while she was taking it, but the second that she stopped taking it, when she ran out of the packets, she could tell there was an immense amount. There's a huge difference in her energy levels.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, that really does say a lot. I've had other cancer patients who are going through chemotherapy who are literally almost wiped out from the chemical side effects of the chemotherapy, and they routinely tell me that they got through it using our product. Interestingly enough, I've had people who have, I've done a lot of work with people who have suffered from substance abuse, drug and alcohol, and I've had remarkable success, in particular with these individuals. And they've told me very matter-of-factly that if it weren't for Ola Loa, they would be dead.
I believe it. I mean, can you imagine how much nutrients are being robbed out of your body if you're a meth addict or a heroin addict or anything like that?
Oh, the toxic side effects are incredible.
Right.
And when people are going through recovery, one of the big pieces of the puzzle in terms of the detoxification and, of course, in the ability to restore your mood and to get your emotional sensibility back can really be hampered, especially if you suffer from undermethylation and you don't make those neurotransmitters. And if you don't make things like adrenaline, you get depressed. I've got people who have been, I've been very pleased to have patients who have been able to get off of their antidepressants who have been using Ola Loa, who are shocked to find out that they come from vascular family risk histories where people have heart attacks and strokes in their family history. And amazingly, no physician ever conducted a clotting assessment on these people. Routinely, we see chronic fatigue patients and fibromyalgia patients who have, if you just ask them simple questions, do you have heart attacks and strokes in your family history? I mean, it's about 99 out of 100 of them who come through our practice clearly have vascular risk family histories. And no physician is even bothering to check whether or not they suffer from elevated homocysteine, fibrinogen, lipoprotein A, or small dense LDL. I mean, it's absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, it's malpractice.
Right, and
people are always asking me.
At this point,
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
I was sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was going to say at this point, it's not even. I don't even know how much a family history plays into it. I mean, I know that's a good part of it, but I think a lot of that kind of disease that's going on. I mean, look at what we're being fed. You know, look at what people are buying in the grocery. Even the vegetables aren't that good anymore.
Oh, well, look, the food's pre-picked, artificially colored and processed, and certainly most people have a busy life, and it's hard to get quality foods. There's no question about that. Right. But certainly, if you've got a family history where people are suffering routinely from heart disease and heart attacks, I'll give you a classic case. Had a guy not long ago who came to see my dad. He was in his mid-40s. Here's a guy who had been active his whole life, never had any problems. And within 6 months, he had become disabled. This guy, 45 years old, and they're scheduling a 45-year-old for a hip replacement surgery. He comes in to see us, and we do a family history, and we find out all the men in his family are dead before they're 60 years old, generally from a major vascular event. Long story short, we did his blood, checked him out. He was off the charts. Homocysteine, fibrinogen, and LPA, off the charts. You take this guy's blood, you turn your back for a moment, you look back at the tube, all of a sudden the blood is congealed and is hardened inside the tube. When they got into, so we immediately started to treat him. We knew he was a clotter, and we told him that there was a chance he could actually die just going through surgery. We got him through surgery. We were treating him. When they got into his hip, he had such reduced blood flow to the extremity that he had suffered necrosis of the hip. His hip was literally gelatinous instead of being structure. Okay, he'd lost it. And people are always asking me, what's the test you should run? Well, if I could only run one test, the one test I would run is, especially if you've got this in your family history, find out if you're a clotter. In particular, if you suffer from homocysteine. For these people in particular, Ola Loa can be a lifesaver because these people typically have a problem with vitamin B12 and folate. They don't use their B vitamins very well. They have problems with digestion and interferences with the transport proteins that can allow vitamin B12 to be delivered. And the only other way you can lower homocysteine is you can remethylate it through the use of an ingredient that we get from beets. It's called betaine. Trimethylglycine, that special word methyl. It gives off methyl groups, and it is able to reduce homocysteine even when B12 and folate fail. And so for these people in particular, Ola Loa can be a real lifesaver.
Man, you guys ought to talk to Kevin Smith and see if he'll try your product. I mean, that guy almost croaked a couple of weeks ago while he was out doing a show. So, I mean, and he's going through from what he was saying, he's going through almost exactly what you're talking about now.
It's very common, and it's very sad that, we've known about this for many, many years. My dad started doing coagulation analysis 35 years ago. We've been integrating methylation protocols and identifying the blockades to methylation and putting the genomics in context with that for the last 25 years. And we've made it as easy as possible for you. Ultimately, I'll tell you, I was very selfish about this. I tend to run high homocysteine, but more importantly, I wanted to have something that I could share with my son. And that's what led me to develop Ola Loa as a powdered vitamin drink. And it was really, in large measure, so I would have something to share with my son. But I also realized that the more I spoke to our patients, the more I realized people do not like taking pills. If you start studying the typical vitamin pills, you'll find on average 60 to 70% of a tablet just goes right through you. It's not uncommon for people to sometimes lose 9% of the potential value of nutritional value of a tablet. It doesn't even get to the cells, because ultimately it's not what you eat, it's what you're able to deliver to the cells. And Ola Loa is providing, the equivalent. I mean, just to get 1,000 milligrams of betaine and 1,000 milligrams of glycine, you would have to eat about 3 pounds of beets. So it's a very thoughtful product. It's providing basically everything that you need, and it is so convenient. If you miss a meal, you can have an Ola Loa packet, and within a matter of minutes, it restores you.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm going to leave the science up to you guys on this. All I know is what I know about it from my own personal experience with this is it actually works. It's not like the vitamins you get at the store. This stuff actually works. After a couple of days, I felt good, and when you know, and I hadn't for a long time because it was right after I had my. And you know, if you sit around for a long time, your body starts to break down. You know, you have to force yourself to keep active and all of that. And after taking this for a little while, for like a couple of days, I was actually feeling pretty good. I'm like going, okay, I don't want to sit on the couch and watch the same monotonous crap on television anymore. You know, all I can tell you is it works. It really does.
I always ask people, I said, how good do you want to feel? And I want to make a deal for your listeners, anybody who's listening to Revolution Radio, use the coupon code REVOLUTION35 and you'll get a 35% discount on our website at drinkyourvitamins.com. So just, you know, anybody who's listening, if they want to go and get a deal on it, go to drinkyourvitamins.com. Use the coupon code REVOLUTION35. They'll save 35%. And if they have any questions, you know, you can always call me. I mean, I get calls from people all the time who are interested in alternative medicine, preventive medicine, who are looking about testing and want to know more. They can always call me directly at 800-800-9550. And you know, I'm very accessible. I'm here to help people.
Can you give out that phone number once again?
Oh, absolutely. Our toll-free number is 800-800-9550.
Okay, got it. I just had to make sure I got it into the chat room here.
Yeah. And the website is drinkyourvitamins.com.
Right. Yeah, I'm and like I said, I'm telling everybody that I talk to when they ask about what I take, I tell them this one because, like I said, it's the only one that I've ever had that actually worked. So,
well, you know, that's really what's kept us in business for the last 19 years. I mean, people experience this product and they recognize right away that they're experiencing something totally. It's interesting, you know, and it's used by some interesting people. We've had a lot of athletic people and extreme athletes who use the product. We've been used in some very exciting use around the world. I'm trying to say that we've been the drink at Burning Man for the last 13 years. We've had people who are going into heat stroke and who are suffering from, you know, a rather serious situation, and they have done very, very well with Ola Loa.
Good.
So I hope that gives you a little. Does that give you a little idea about what we're all about and what we're doing?
Well, I already know. It's all the people who's listening to the show that needs to be convinced, because I've been convinced for years now about it. No, and I can only say it so much and never too many times. Is like this is a vitamin product that works. You know. I mean, I don't know how to say it any other way. Order yourself from Ola Loa. Go to drinkyourvitamins.com, order from them, try it out for yourself, and tell me I'm wrong. You know.
Well, I agree with you on that. Have them take the Ola Loa challenge. Try some product. I mean, it'll save you so much grief. Otherwise, I mean, you know, what's sad for me is that, you know, typically the people that come to see us in our medical clinic are people who are suffering from major disease, people who have had major vascular events, people who are suffering from the effects of cancer, and don't wait till you start to express disease. You know,
no, because usually by that point you're already well into it, because it starts way in advance. I mean, even if you feel good, take this stuff.
Well, you know, the biggest risk with nutrients in general is not getting enough. You know, and the fact is, you know, to be able to get adequate nutrients out of the food that we eat is really a fantasy. We've been doing blood testing and working with patients now for over 50 years. We've been doing vitamin analysis. I have never, ever seen anybody who could do it. And especially those people who have had environmental toxins, who have been exposed to poisons, who have compromised biochemical processes in the body, who are suffering from these clotting issues, and people who have other potential biochemical hurdles to overcome. All these things compound. It's you know, like I say, you know, I'm sorry?
I was going to say, when you order your product online, what's a typical delivery time to get it?
You know, we typically ship on the same day.
Okay.
And so we usually get it out to you within 3 to 4 days. People get it.
Okay.
Orders over $75. There's no shipping fee. I mean, it's very reasonable. I mean, when I look at some of the things, it's interesting. Here we are at the Natural Products Expo down in Southern California, here in Anaheim, California, and much of the vitamins that you find down here are all owned by big pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer,
right,
and companies like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. A number of these companies, and what you'll find is that in large measure, these products have nothing in them.
Well,
in fact, the industry is almost geared to actually produce products and with the intent to fool the audience.
Well,
they try and put as little. Yeah,
that's what they
exactly
do.
do.
They're not there to help you out. They're there to make sure you keep spending your money on their product.
Well, they're very good at it. They're very good at fooling people.
Right. Yeah, I'll give them that.
And in fact, it's what's ironic is that routinely I have consultants who come by. I did a show once. There's a big show called the NACDS, the National Association of Chain Drugstores. I did that meeting a number of years ago, and a well-known consultant in the industry came by, took a look at the product. And he says, "You know what the problem is with your product? Is that it's way too healthy. You know, what you need to do," and he started telling me, what you need to do is you actually have to start lowering the amount of active ingredients in there, just enough so it'll make the label claim, because he acknowledged the fact that most consumers cannot read a label. Right. And I looked at the guy like I thought that the guy was crazy. I looked at him and I go, well, but then the product wouldn't be effective. It wouldn't do what it was designed to do.
Yeah, but you can make so much more money.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, he mentioned the vitamin B12. You know, our vitamin B12 costs about $7,000 more per kilo than any other B12 that's on the market. Here at this show, at the Natural Products Expo, there are thousands of booths that are down here. I am the only hydroxy vitamin B12 drink in the entire show. And
in an event that big.
Yeah, and when these guys talk to me, they all tell me, well, you should switch to cyanocobalamin. You'll save $7,000 per kilo. And again, I turn to this guy and I go, well, yeah, but the product won't work.
Right.
And of course, his comeback to me was, well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And the only reason I mentioned about the size of the expo, if anybody really wants to get an idea, since you're the only product booth that's actually doing that, if anybody really wants to get an idea about what the size of the expo is, it takes up the entire Anaheim Convention Center. One floor on that convention center is bigger than 3 football fields, and you have 3 of these. Okay, and then it got so big that it's also spilled over into the Marriott and to the Hilton.
Huh? That's right. And there's now a new building that they've created that's also housing stuff. It's absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And out of all of that, out of the thousands of vendors that are there, you're the only one doing the hydroxy B12.
Well, you know, the way the industry works too is, for the most part, no one makes any products unless there's a lot of advertising and a lot of discussion that's being done in the trades about a certain ingredient. And so for people who are trying to be forward thinking, who are bringing out, you know, advanced products, it's a labor of love, because you're not just doing trendy stuff. We're actually at the cutting edge of nutrition science, and we're really providing people the most advanced product that we possibly can that's going to do the most good.
Right. And a lot of the other products that you end up running into, like you were saying before, they do enough to be able to cover the claims on the label, but that's it.
Yeah.
Bare minimum. Yeah. And the rest of it is filler.
Well,
it's almost like dog food.
Well, yeah, but the sad part of that is ultimately these companies all realize that it's all about advertising.
Right.
And that's really what drives these products. So most of the companies say, well, you know what, instead of putting our money into the product, we're going to put our money into the advertising. So it's they've got it all backwards. Ultimately,
as usual.
Yeah, I mean this whole business of biochemistry is rather complicated stuff. And the important thing is you don't have to know all the names of methionine and methylation and glutathione and sarcosine and yada yada yada. The important thing is your listeners have to understand that we understand that stuff, and we've been working with tens of thousands of patients and have been doing these blood studies, which give us an incredible amount of information. I mean, just to put this in context, just to give you an idea, your average physician is doing an incomplete blood count, and they're making life and death decisions on almost no information whatsoever.
Right.
When you look at what we do in our medical practice, we're getting on average about 400 numbers, and we get a much more detailed, specific understanding of what's going on with your individual biochemistry. And with that information, you can protect yourself. I mean, ideally, people should get this information before they start, showing symptoms.
Right. Well, I mean, here's an example. I mean, I have to use the VA for my medical, and they set me up for an appointment, and I went down there, and they drew blood, and they asked me if I had anything to eat in the last 24 hours, and I was like, well, yes, of course. And even breakfast this morning, and they're like, well, why? We're drawing your blood. Well, because you didn't tell me that you were drawing blood today. So when they got the test results back, they're like, well, you have your cholesterol's a little high. Yeah, because I had breakfast that morning. Well, we need to see about maybe thinking about putting you on some statin drugs. And I'm like, oh, you can try all you want, but that ain't going to happen.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the amazing thing about the cholesterol myth. Half the people that have heart attacks and strokes have low cholesterol and perfectly clean arteries. But thing to keep in mind, homocysteine within 4 hours can lower your blood flow by 90% and create a catastrophic event. Just homocysteine.
Right. But like you said, they're not doing the blood tests the way they should. And I have a feeling at the VA they're pretty hamstrung by a lot of regulations anyway. So they're bureaucrats reading out of a book. And I've talked to some of the doctors there. They really don't like working there. I mean, they do, but they know what they're talking about. But there's so many regulations, and I have a feeling the AMA is probably hamstring a lot of the other physicians that are out there who know what they're talking about. They really want to do a good job, but they're stuck.
Well, they're afraid.
You can only do this.
Much of this is controlled by insurance companies.
Right.
I mean, I'm shocked that here it is almost 50 years later. In 1967, my dad proved clearly that people were deficient. Here's a guy who he comes out of New York Hospital at Payne Whitney, was doing his postdoctoral fellowship at Stanford, and he was just curious to know, is it possible that my patient is malnourished? And isn't it amazing to find out that, yes, sick people are malnourished? Right. And then, of course, 1968, 69 rolls around, and my dad started the hair test and heavy metal testing. And does it surprise you to learn that people, especially back in the day when we had leaded gasoline, that people were loaded with lead? And that today we're still seeing lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic? And people are still not aware of the fact that these toxins can cause severe problems. The mathematics for some people, 1 and 1 does not make 2. Right. It's more like 20.
Right, and
you get people, for example, with weak cholinesterase factor who get into an agricultural area and wind up getting around pesticides, and they're knocked out. I mean, in fact, this is the classic case of individual biochemistry. What Roger Williams was talking about years ago. You take a husband and wife, and put them in the same toxic environment. One's passed out, the other one is ready for a party. That's what biochemical individuality is all about.
Right.
And there are things that make us a little different in the way our bodies respond. Lifestyle plays a role, genetics plays a role, but we're able to identify and find out what is happening. And it's astonishing because, more physicians would like to do this, but they're afraid. If you're doing anything that's considered outside the standard of care, potentially you could lose your license.
Yeah, of course. And what's funny about what you're talking about right now, people being malnourished is what's causing a lot of the diseases that people believe come from somewhere else. There's a different cause for it, and they're being told there's a different cause for it. There's a guy out there, G. Edward Griffin, who's in a completely unrelated field to what you guys. I mean, he's a major researcher. He's come to the same conclusion. All these diseases that people are getting, including cancer, come because your body is malnourished, and he's being called a crackpot because of it.
Well, here's the amazing thing. Years ago, we were doing an interview together at Stanford, and we were talking about and comparing and contrasting the RDA to pharmacology, okay, and pharmaceutical drugs. And on one hand, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, you're trying to find the maximum amount of a substance that you can give someone without killing them. And with the RDA, it's a whole 180 degrees difference. We're looking at trying to find the least amount of a substance we can give you to keep you alive. And of course, the nomenclature has changed over the years, and people become confused about it. The RDA and the RDI, it originally started off as a totally different concept known as the MDRs, the minimum daily requirements. These are not the optimum levels. This is just the minimum to keep you alive. And of course, we find now we're learning that there are genetic mutations that occur out there which make it more difficult for some people to utilize certain vitamins. And we certainly have been able to show that there are many people who have significant impairment to their blood circulation, which interferes with nutrient delivery. And ultimately, what is nutrition but circulation? If you block your circulation, you block your nutritional delivery. And so these people become malnourished by default. They eat food and they become malnourished.
Right.
So it's frustrating. I mean, we still, I think, have a long way to go. And unfortunately,
I think what a lot of people don't seem to understand too is the way industrial farming works. Also, because where I live now, it's farmland, and you get some of these people who've been farming for generations who know what to put into the soil and how farming works because they've been doing it for generations. If the vitamins, if the minerals and all that stuff not present in the soil, it's not getting into the plant. Okay, you could be eating vitamin deficient foods and not even realize it because industrial farming has according to the way the FDA and the EPA and all of these other governmental regulatory bodies work, says this is what you have to put into the soil if you want to sell your food, and it's really not helping anything out. So you could be eating.
Let's not forget, tomatoes and all of our, fresh produce. None of it comes with a soft stable.
Right. Yeah. Everybody.
It looks very pretty, but there's nothing in it.
Yeah, everybody's kind of under the assumption that the plant produces all the minerals and vitamins all by itself. It's like that's not how it works. Okay, the stuff has to be in the soil in order for it to get it.
That's right. And, of course, the soil beds have been depleted for a long time. And, of course, other things that are getting in these soil beds are also very problematic. And this is an interesting concept because, some people will start talking about, food-based vitamins. Well, food-based vitamins don't exist. It's called food. Except if you want to get food-based vitamins, eat real quality foods that have not been adulterated and put you in jeopardy. Many of these so-called food-based vitamin products are actually loaded with heavy metals and other toxins. When you're getting an isolated nutrient, you're getting a virtually purified, pure raw material ingredient. And so these, if you want macronutrients, eat good foods. We have a few simple rules that we live by. Eat whole food. Try and avoid poisons. Variety. We're not extremists on any level. Some of these people, have become, crazy over little things. I mean, I had a gal today who was absolutely hysterical over a little sugar. 1 gram of sugar. It's the equivalent of 1 bite of a pear. There's 15 to 20 grams of sugar in every piece of fruit.
Right.
It's not that sugar is so bad. In fact, sugar plays a vital role in our bodies on a lot of different levels. But in particular, in the methylation world, you get about 70% of your methyl donor groups from serine, which is a direct result of sugar metabolism. And again, just use common sense. It's all about dose. The people who have to worry about things like sugar are people who are drinking soft drinks all day long, and they're not getting, 2 grams or 3 grams of sugar or 15 grams of sugar. They're getting sometimes 300 grams of sugar.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even sugar. Sometimes in those drinks now and gum and a lot of other candies and stuff, it's aspartame.
Oh, it's awful.
Which is worse.
Aspartame is a nerve agent. They're using things. Like sucralose, which is it's a sucrose molecule that's bound to chlorine, which destroys intestinal flora, and people wind up then being wiped out. They can't absorb nutrients from their food at that point. Right. Again, just common sense. So we're not extremists by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I don't know. I don't know how good health would be considered extremist, except by the pharmaceutical companies who don't want you healthy, so you continue to buy their products and use their treatments, even though they don't really work.
Well, they have a goal. They want you to be medicated from cradle to grave. That's their economic model. I understand it. I think it's pretty straightforward. If you're in the business, I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, you want to keep the money machine working.
Yeah, and that's why,
in good conscience, I can't do anything like that.
I'm waiting for the day when they come out with. I mean, I'm sure you and probably everybody else who's listening have seen those ads on TV for the next whatever designer pharmaceutical drug that's come out to treat whatever ails you. And there's all the list of side effects that go along with it, including death.
I always get a kick out of that because I was thinking, how would I be able to sell Ola Loa to somebody if I had to give you that laundry list of adverse side effects?
Right.
And of course, recently we've seen some violent activity happening, and I think that they've been downplaying the use of certain antidepressants and certain drugs that may have been used on some of these people, which of course, oftentimes one of the side effects is not only suicide but homicide. And violent outburst activity.
Yeah, just the bombardment that kids are getting now. Vaccines, how many vaccines they're getting before even 6 years old. The GMO foods, what they're spraying in the air. Vitamin deficient foods, vitamin deficient vitamins. And of course all the psychotropic drugs that they will prescribe to anybody for just about anything. It's like, I feel bad. I've had a bad day. Here, take a boatload of these. It'll make you feel better. No, it turns into a zombie. And then they wonder, this complete assault on your brain and your system. And then they wonder why people act the way they do.
Well, the good news is there are people like my dad who have been working in this space for many years, and there are products like Ola Loa that make it at least it certainly makes it easier for you to integrate this type of nutrient support in your lifestyle. In fact, people really find the Ola Loa experience is really a lifestyle experience, and it's more than just getting your nutrients. It's really an understanding and a way of life. And of course, it's very exciting and very fulfilling to hear from people who have used our products, and they tell me routinely, it changed my life. And that's very exciting. I mean, that's what really keeps me going. I do this because ultimately I feel like I can do the most good with doing this.
Well, like I said, from personal experience, I recommend it highly. It definitely does make you feel better.
I appreciate that.
Good. It really does. And I would tell everybody out there, if you're feeling a little bit down and tired and whatever, get this. I guarantee you, order some of this. Order a 1 month supply and try it.
Well, and I'll leave you with one other thought. One of the first things you can you can be aware of when it comes to methylation and whether or not if you're undermethylating, the first organ of your body that starts to shut down when you're not methylating well is your pancreas. A lot of people suffer from digestive problems. You just watch TV, for a little while, and the number of potential products that are being, advertised for digestive issues is pretty amazing. So the pancreas starts to shut down. You stop producing your digestive enzymes as well, so you don't digest your food as well. But the pancreas also does one other thing. It puts out a quart of bicarbonate every single day, and that gets into a whole host of transactions in the body. And you get a lot of people who are having dysbiosis and GERD and bilious reflux. And what you really find out is that they're not really deficient in probiotics, but they are in a state of crisis where they're in pancreatic shutdown. And so your first line of defense when it comes to digestion, you've got to think about methylation. It really changes the whole concept of methylation, in particular histamine, because you've got the pancreas putting out this bolus of bicarbonate, but the backup acidifier of the stomach is still going, and that's histamine. And the way you have to turn off that histamine in the stomach is a methylation step where you have to produce methylhistamine. So again, you start to see how methylation is really tied into absolutely everything, from heart function to circulation to digestion to detoxification, immunity, and brain function. So ultimately, you want to make sure that your methylation system is turned on, and certainly there is no easier way to do that than to drink your vitamins and drink Ola Loa. And that's what's so exciting about our product. We've made it easy for you. You don't have to struggle through this. You don't have to take, handfuls of vitamin pills. And you will find if you try Ola Loa, it'll change your life. You'll be a new you. You'll be you, but just better.
Yeah, you definitely did make me feel a hell of a lot better, believe me. So
well, I appreciate that. It's always a joy to talk to you guys. And like I say, if anybody has questions, they can always call us on the toll-free number at 800-800-9550. And if they want to, go to Ola Loa or to drinkyourvitamins.com, use the coupon code REVOLUTION35, and you'll get 35% savings off on our website. And I'm here, if anybody wants to talk to me, they can always give me a call.
Okay, what booth are you guys in at the expo?
At Expo West, we're in booth number 4071.
Okay, so if anybody wants to go get there and can,
anybody who's listening,
go and see them. Yeah, go and see them.
Definitely come on by, stop by, get a picture. The big Kahuna wants to see everybody down there, so I'll take pictures with you. You'll get some Ola Loa samples, even get some stickers. And we'll talk nutrition and answer your questions if you have any special stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah, and by the way, it tastes pretty good too. But in case anybody was really wondering,
it actually surprises people. We had a lot of people who were very nervous about that. They come by and they're always pleasantly surprised. In fact, I learned today we had several people who came by and I couldn't believe it. And I haven't done this yet, but they told me that they are using Ola Loa in their coffee. So I am going to, there's some booths now that are starting to do these pods that are putting limited nutritional support in these pods. But the simplest way, if you want to add nutrients to your coffee, is just pour in an Ola Loa. I've had many people, and I myself have done it with iced tea, But this is fantastic. I mean, I'm hearing people were telling me that they've been able to transform their coffee and turn bad coffee into good coffee just by adding some Ola Loa to the coffee.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say, when you said pods, I was thinking, well, maybe you should put some in some of those Tide pods. At least they'll be getting nutrition. You know.
Don't even get me started on that. I mean, again, that gets us back to the concept of common sense, and you wonder, how is it possible? You know, like, how could you find? I would never believe you could find somebody who'd be dumb enough to put those things in their mouth. I mean, it's absolutely astonishing to me.
They're out there.
Well, it's great to hear you guys.
All right, great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Greg, for everything you did this weekend. We can't thank you enough, and thank you so much for the Granada Forum. We're so grateful. Thank you, Greg.
Talk to you guys soon, okay?
All right.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello, and welcome back to the Granada Forum radio program. We hope you've really enjoyed Greg Kunin, extremely knowledgeable. DrinkYourVitamins.com. That's DrinkYourVitamins.com. Check out Ola Loa. They're just, he's a phenomenal, smart man. Very grateful to him for today. And Granada Forum. Thank you. Nick, thank you for the interview. It came in handy.
I did my best.
I'm going to take a couple of companies real quick, Nick, and then if we have like maybe 20, 30 minutes, so we can go into some current events. But let me take a couple of companies. I'd like to thank Bernard Jansen. You go to bernardjansen.com. That's www.bernardj.com. Bernard Jansen. Jansen is spelled Jensens. bernardjansen.com. And I'd like to thank New Nordic. They gave us some stuff, and we're very grateful. Skincare, collagen filler, and you go to newnordic.com. That's newnordic.com. And thank them very much. I'd also like to thank Gaia. We stopped off at the booth at Gaia, and Gaia gave us some stuff, and that's GAIA.com. Gaia, it's for herbs. GaiaHerbs.com.
Can I interrupt you for 1 minute?
Go ahead.
When someone's asking another host from here, Bobby Vicarious, he just wants you to repeat the discount for Ola Ola.
Yeah, sure.
Ola,
right now.
Loa.
Okay, yeah. Can you repeat that, please? Thank you.
DrinkYourVitamins.com. That's DrinkYourVitamins.com. And that's OLALOA. OLALOA. And that's DrinkYourVitamins.com. DrinkYourVitamins.com.
Right. Yeah, and the discount is you need to give them is Revolution 35.
Well, there you go.
And you get a 35% discount.
Wow, that's fantastic. 35% off. Wow.
So, and it's worth. Believe me, I'm going to say it again. It's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've used their products before, and I don't pimp for nobody, unless they pay me a lot of money.
There you go, Nick.
And nobody's paying me anything for this, so I can honestly tell you their products are really, really good.
Yeah, yes it is. It's an A company for sure. I would like to thank Gaia, GAIA, GaiaHerbs.com. I have lost my voice, but it's not from a cold, it's from the chemtrails. Sorry about that. GaiaHerbs.com. That's GaiaHerbs.com. Check out, they're an organic company. Check them out. They're very, very nice, very wonderful people. We'd like to thank another company called EARY, U-Theory, Y. If you go to utheory.com, I believe that's their website, utheory.com. and they have all kinds of products, maca root and collagen and all kinds of stuff. And that's youtheory.com. That's Feel More Alive with Youtheory. And that's Youth, Youtheary, Youtheory. We'd like to thank them big time for giving us some product. Another company, we're going to give these to Bob. It's called DB's Organics. It's an organic superfruit. So, and it's a fruit juice freezer bar. So, and they're non-GMO, and they gave us a bag and allergen-free too. So it's kind of interesting, kosher and non-GMO, interesting. So we'll get some feedback from Bob on that one. We'd like to thank Manuka Honey. They gave us some honey, MANUKA. That's MANUKA, ManukaHoney.com. That's ManukaHoney.com. Good people there. Arnica, very good. If you got bruises or pains or stiffness, you'd put some arnica on you. And that's arnica.com, arnica.com. And you spell arnica as ARNICARE, arnica. ARNICARE, arnica.com. Very good people for that. We'd like to thank the Ester C people. That's ESTER, Ester C. They gave us a bunch of vitamins. We're very grateful for them. We'd like to thank Ester C. You go to esterc.com for them too. That's ESTER-C. That's ESTR-C and .com for them. I would like to thank a company called Pines, PINES. They're a wheatgrass company. They're gluten-free, non-GMO, organic, and they are a deep green leaf vegetable wheatgrass. So you can go to pines.com, PINES.com. Sorry about that.
You need to drink your vitamins, Wendy.
You have no idea, Nick. Okay.
You sound like me, like I sounded like about a month and a half ago.
Well, Nick, we live in the valley. I live in the valley, and they just spray us like
they spray.
They go for the last couple of weeks.
They've been spraying,
and then they gave us that Arctic weather, and I got sick. So
yeah,
I know it's a camp.
They spray almost every day here. I always make sure I look at that. There's only been in the last month or 2 months. There's only been like a number of clear days you can count on one hand. So
I know.
I'm surprised more people haven't gotten real sick.
Yeah, I know. Trust me on that one. I'd like to thank a water company. Again, the alkaline water was great, a 9.5 pH electrolytes. It's perfect hydration. And that's the purified drinking water, but it's alkaline water 9.5 plus pH electrolytes, and it's perfect hydration. And that's purified drinking water. They gave us a couple of bottles, lots of bottles to give handing out. Another company in a carton, called the carton. I love
Wendy, you're breaking up. We only got like half of what you just said.
Oh, that's I Love H2O water company. I Love H2O. It comes in a carton, so they're trying to be biodegradable. Kind of interesting. Very nice people. We'd like to thank the Nature Plus people. They give us shirts and they give us vitamins. And you go to Nature, NATURES plus PLUS.com, Nature Plus. Very good company. Good multivitamins and Q10s and stuff like that. And that's Nature's Plus, NATURES PLUS.com, naturesplus.com. Excuse me. Okay. Another good company, Colon Cleanse. They're a really good company. And it's called www.health. Let me see, get this right. Healthplus.com. That's healthplus.com, and that's who they are. Healthplus.com, and check them out. They're real good. They're into cleanses, but all kinds of good things there. Guy on the street gave us some hemp. I might give this to you or Bob. whatever you want. HEMP Hearts, hemp hearts. That's non-GMO, and we like to thank them. Hemp Hearts, and it's called Manitoba Harvest. Manitoba Harvest. And so if you go to hemphearts.com, I think you got to go right on the website. Okay. Let me get MED ITREE MedTree Botanicals. They're an Australian company. They gave us some facial cream, and we'd like to thank them. And that's MED ITREE Pure Australia Botanicals, and they gave us some facial cream. I want to thank them very much for them. Okay, let me move along a bit. I'd like to thank this guy, ENZYMEDICA, Emzivacom Medical. Is that what they call it? ENZYMEDICA. They're an enzyme company, absolutely fantastic, and they're non-GMO too. And this is they just specialize in enzymes, and that's ENZYMEDICA. And they're, like, again, a enzyme company, only an enzyme. They only specialize in enzymes. And you can go there to their company, .com, and we thank them very much for them. Moving right along. Yeah?
Yeah, Wendy, down under in the chat room says, stick your head over a humidifier.
There you go. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know.
So
okay. Well, let's take the Paradise Company.
You got to put what is that? You got to stick your head over a humidifier with Vicks in it.
With Vicks, okay. Thank you. There you go. I know. Well, thank God I'm at the show because I'm going to take lots of vitamins. No, I got the last couple of days. They sprayed us really bad, Nick, and I lost my voice. But then I got this cough, and I got cough medicine. But Nick, the stuff over the counter does not help the chemtrails. So I took some Robitussin and just it didn't really help. I need some prescription cough medicine, and it's very hard to get now.
You need to get some of the some of the real heavy duty stuff. If your cough is coming from way deep down in your lungs and not just in your throat, you got to get some heavy duty stuff because it's the only thing that's going to kill it. I mean, I was going through this a couple months ago with know, and they were spraying, and that crap that's coming down and out of the air.
It's just poison.
Oh yeah, it just wrecks you.
Yeah.
And I'm still not 100% over it. I mean, I still got a little bit of a cough, but it's not anywhere near what it was before.
Yeah, I agree. Paradise Company, very nice people. Green Company, PARADISE, and that's a Paradise Company, and they specialize in greens, super greens, Power 24. Check them out. Go to paradise.com. Very nice people. Gave us some product. We're very grateful to them. I'd like to thank the Trace Mineral Company, TRACE Minerals, MINERALS, TraceMinerals.com. Check them out. They're a very good company too. We like them very much. And I also mentioned Gaia again. And this is another company, Neocell, 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 at neocell.com. And they're a collagen company. And for collagen, so they specialize in collagen. That's neocell.com. Check them out. Okay, here we go. Okay, Nature's Way gave us some products. We'd like to thank them. We'll go to natureway.com. Natureway.com. Thank you very much for them. Another good company, KO. It's called KO Dophilus. It's a KO company. And they're KO, KYO, and they gave us some product. We'd like to thank them very much. One of my favorite companies, too, is Pure, P-U-R-E. They have a good multivitamin, but they got a great powder stuff you take before you go to bed or during the day, give you extra vitamins and minerals, and it's a very good company, and it fizzes, it makes you sleep at night, and that's PURE.com, Essential Labs, PureEssentialLabs.com. Check them out. They're a great company. We'd like to thank them very, very much. They're a super company, and they're very nice to us. We're very grateful for them. We'd like to thank Micro Carol. They have a superfood company, and they gave us some greens and reds, and that's MACROL. That's MACROL Life. Micro Life. And you go to microlife.com. They specialize in Miracle Red Superfood and Super Green. And they are a raw company, non-GMO, and they're also vegan. So this company specializes just in a couple of products, but they specialize in superfood. You definitely want to check out. It's www.microl, MACROL, life, LIFE, naturals.com. Okay. www.microlifenaturals.com, but they specialize in superfoods, so we'd like to thank them as well. Another good company that we got, and from Jarrow, J-A-R-O-W, Jarrow, J-A-R-O-W, Jarrow.com. They gave us some vitamins. We're very grateful for them, and that's a big company. They also specialize in brain stuff. I can't say enough about the brain. They have a Neurooptimal as well as Magline, and if you've got problems with, sometimes between 2 and 4 you can't keep your head open because of the chemtrails, or you're just down. If you take the Magline in the morning and the Neurooptimal in the afternoon, you'll be pretty sharp throughout the day, and you're giving also vitamins for your brain. It's the water. And,
what happened, Wendy? Oh.
But I'm just getting some water. Hold on. It's Jarrow, Jarrow.com. That's Jarrow.com, and specialize. Again, they have a variety of vitamins from A to Z, and but the Jarrow company specializes also in the brain. I do recommend that you're taking something for the brain, just because you have stress and because of all the chem that's being sprayed. And I can tell you something: if you take brain vitamins right now, you will not get Alzheimer. You'll stop it. But you have to get on it and you take it, and it's a total prevention. So and a lot of the companies now are coming up with brain stuff, but the Jarrow company definitely, the Magmine and the Neurooptimal, fantastic, and that's Jarrow, Jarrow.com. Very nice people. Also, too, this company I love very much is Natural Vitality. Also was known as the Peter Gillingham Company for a long time, and that's Natural Vitality, V-I-T-A-L-I-T-Y, Natural Vitality. They specialize in calm, and if you go CLAM.com, and they're just amazing. The Natural Vitality Calm. I take their Calm Plus at night along with some of the Pure stuff. I usually sometimes mix it, and it fizzes, and I guess I'll get a great night's sleep, and it really works. And that's Natural Vitality. I want to thank them very much. Calm is one of their number one sellers, and it's fantastic. I can't really say enough about that. Good stuff there. Okay, I got another company, BioRay, BioRay.com, and you can go to BioRay.com. They made you, and it's alcohol-free, drug-free, non-GMO, organic ingredients. Sorry. And they do like liquid stuff. They got Gut Love, and they've got a Mind Zeal. So it comes in a bottle. You take a couple of drops. They detox, and you can check them out. Kind of very interesting company, but very, very nice, and good people who run their company. And it's alcohol-free, drug-free, non-GMO, organic ingredients, gluten-free, non-dairy, vegan, and it's soy-free. It's made in the USA. And it's BioRayDaily.com. Bio, B-I-O, Ray, R-A-Y, Daily, D-A-L-D-A-I-L-Y.com. BioRayDaily.com. Check them out. Very nice people. We also like to thank Coral Calcium again real quick. Coral Calcium gave us a bunch of stuff, and that's coralcalcium.com, coralcalcium.com. Now, this is an interesting company. They don't like to talk about it because it's colloidal silver products, and it's natural silver wings. So if you go to NPS npswsilver.com, and Natural Path Silver Wings. That's what they do. So it's a colloidal silver. That's why we recommend it. That's I might need to check them out because colloidal silver might be able to attack the chemtrails. npswsilver.com is for colloidal silver. We do recommend it. It's an interesting concept. And again, these people, Energy C, ENER-C Sports, ENER-C Sports. It's a glucose added for electrolytes and soberation. No sugar, caffeine-free, no artificial flavors, colors, and it's 100% non-GMO. And that's ENER-C Sports. Very nice people, and they gave us some product. We want to thank them very much. It's very we need to make sure that we thank some companies and because the Pure Company and Jarrow and Trace Minerals, because they give us stuff on Gaia, and I just can't say enough about some of the companies that just give us stuff, and very, very grateful. And so we're very grateful to the National Products Health Expo West. That's the Natural Health Products Show Expo West. We're very grateful for them. And since I'm a little tiny bit under the weather, because not that I'm sick, but I just don't have a voice, I'm going to hand this show back over to my co-host Nick Pearson. And Nick, what's in the news, handsome?
Well, what isn't in the news?
I heard Trump's going to North Korea.
Well, no, he's having a meeting with Kim Jong Butthead over there, who finally got spooked enough to want to have a sit down. So
I think that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, liberals nuts.
yeah, I know. That's the great part about it, because for half a year now or more, they've been screaming that Trump's going to cause a nuclear war with North Korea, and we've had John on here giving his analysis of it and all of that, every week, and it turns out it's pretty much not something that's going to happen. I think with the new tariffs on the Chinese imports that Trump's invoked, and the and what the games he's been playing with North Korea, I think finally that Kim finally got spooked enough where he's going, okay, this is going to turn out really bad for us, and probably China's putting pressure on him too. So, so it's okay, time to have a sit down and hash things out instead of just like two kids on the playground like yelling at each other who's tougher. Right. So that's actually a good thing. So maybe Trump has a better idea of what he's doing than a lot of the liberals are, and of course they can't stand it because they're all in the news still screaming like, "No, this is not going to amount to anything." Right. So God forbid that you chalk another win up in Trump's column.
You're right. I want to mention one thing real quick. I forgot one company. This week I don't need to mention this, so I'm going to get the guy on. We got a book today. He's with Source Naturals, and that's Source SOURCE Naturals NATURALS. That's Source SOURCE Naturals NATURALS. Naturals, that's Source Naturals, a great vitamin company. But this guy named Michael Terra, TERRA, and he's a Native American Indian, and he did a planetary herbal biology book and on herbs. So we're going to get him one night on Nick. So that'll be a good one. I wanted just to mention him because they gave us a book, and the Natural Source people were very nice to us. So sorry about that, guys. I just want to say that real quick. I'm going to get the Native American Indian on. I'm going to book him. Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
Oh yeah. By the way, I also got booted from Twitter today.
No. What did you say? What did you say?
Well, that's the whole thing. Is I have no idea what I said this time.
Oh my God.
Which is funny, because there's a lot of people talking about how Twitter and YouTube are cleaning out a lot of more right-wing, conservative, or
anybody who believes in truth and freedom,
libertarian posts are like getting rid of those kinds of videos. They're getting rid of. So I mean, if you find some of them, I suggest if you do run across them, especially on YouTube, download them immediately so they don't disappear off the internet entirely. Right. But I don't know exactly what it was I said.
Okay. Now, how long are you kicked off for? Like a day or?
No, this is indefinite.
They kicked you off permanently.
Permanently, yeah.
And you have no idea what you actually said.
They don't tell you. That's the thing that drives you nuts is they don't tell you why they kick you off. But they just hand you your walking papers and that's it. Yeah, and they're like, your account is completely suspended, so I'm not on Twitter right now.
Okay.
I can still see what people are putting up, but right. I can't do anything with it, and nobody else can see anything.
Yeah, they're definitely the censorship in the country, Nick, is astronomical right now.
It's getting beyond stupid. InfoWars got bumped off of YouTube.
I know Alex is fighting for his life. I mean, we're a small potato, and they're a big tater. But everyone's fighting. But yeah, they're definitely going after him purposely. It's totally wrong.
He's got clout. He's got a huge audience, and can you imagine how easy it would be to kick Revolution Radio off the internet?
I know. Well, these people are just not too bright, you know.
I'm actually waiting for them to come here. And you know what? The interesting thing is that with Ted Cruz there, he's on to the tech companies too, apparently, by the looks of it, which is good. And one thing I like to see what's going on right now is with Sessions. I'm not sure if he's playing possum with some things, but he sure is getting choked at the illegal sanctuary city thing going on there. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, Sessions is really selective. See, that's the thing that drives me nuts about him. And, you know, like you said, he may be playing possum on some things, but, you know, when you had James Comey lay out every crime that Hillary committed while she was...
Right, and she's not even in jail.
And Sessions recused himself from doing anything with that and decided to go after marijuana. That was his big thing. And then there was he's also supporting civil asset forfeiture, which to me is a crime the government is committing against the people, because you don't even have to be commit a crime. You don't have to be charged with a crime, and they can just take it on suspicion that, well, maybe you committed a crime, and all your property disappears.
That is the worst law out there. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, to me that's like someone knocking on your door going, "You have to leave."
Yeah. And that's
you don't even know these people. I mean, you have to leave.
Yeah, we're just taking your property because we think you may have committed a crime, without any charges. You haven't even been convicted.
Right.
There's a lot of states that are starting to get wise and starting to overturn it. But Sessions is not one of them. I mean, he's got to be one of the worst attorney generals so who's supposed to be on the right side of things?
Well, plus they actually charge the money. Like they go, like it'll be, the government against $50,000 cash. You know,
right?
I mean, that's just nuts.
Yeah, they just take. Yeah, it's my money. It's all perfectly legal. There's nothing wrong with it. But we think you might be using it for something. Yeah, prove it. Oh, we don't have to. You have to prove that you're not. And that's exactly the opposite of how the justice system is supposed to work. But all these liberal judges are upholding that standard, is that you no longer have to prove, or the state no longer has to prove that you're guilty. You have to prove that you're not.
Right. It used to be innocent to proven guilty. That's correct, right?
Yeah, that's Napoleonic law, what they're trying to uphold now, which is exactly the opposite of the way our system is supposed to work. You know, it works when they want it to work that way, but it doesn't work when there's money involved in it. And Jeff Sessions I guess he was good when he came to California and just basically put everybody on notice here. So say, hey, look, if you're going to do us sanctuary cities, we're going to start withholding funds from you.
Right.
But I was in a conversation with my cousin Martin, who's been on, he's listened to our show. He's been on our show a few times, and we got into it talking about the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which is the treaty that was signed between the United States and Mexico after the Mexican-American War was over. And I still got to go find this. I still got to research this. So don't take me this as gospel truth just yet until I actually prove it. But apparently the Supreme Court of Mexico actually said that the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was not valid, and they overturned it, which means we do not have an armistice. We do not have a truce with Mexico. So people coming in to the United States illegally from Mexico can be considered to be enemies of the United States, which means if there's people who, these politicians who are running these sanctuary cities are now aiding and abetting an enemy of the United States. What's the name of that? What is that called? In technical
treason?
Yes. They can be charged with treason if this can be proven. But nobody will ever go after it. I'm not going to hold my breath that they're ever going to do it. But the fact of the matter is, if I can find this piece and go into the Supreme Court of Mexico's decisions about what happened with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and find out that they did overturn Mexico's Congress when they signed the treaty, and find out that that's the case, that treaty is no longer ratified by Mexico, I'm going to bring that up to my congressman and say, why aren't we charging all these people with the sanctuary cities? Why aren't they being put in jail right now? I'm going to be interested to see what he says, because he hasn't. My congressman now hasn't really impressed me over the last couple of years. But it would make a very interesting legal case if somebody wanted to pursue that one.
You're right. Well, I know there's what do you call it? Jay Sekulow, and there's Larry Klayman, and Judicial Watch.
You got the entire state of California saying that just because you want to protect your country and secure its borders, that you're racist, because that's all they have anymore. That's all the liberals and the communist agenda pushers have, is you're racist or you're a misogynist, and there's a laundry list of other names that go with it to try to shut you up. And I think what's really driving them nuts is I think people are really, really tired of it. If the ratings from the Oscars the other night is any indication, people are getting completely fed up with it, because they're hitting lows this time. Hollywood in general is just going down the tubes, because everything that they do is pushing a liberal, communist agenda, this feminist agenda. Oh, speaking of the feminist agenda, and I'll have this up on our YouTube channel here shortly. Okay. I went down to the feminist march in Los Angeles earlier this week, and it wasn't anything like the one that was about a month before, where you had all those people marching through New York, and Owen Schroyer from InfoWars did that one, and there was a couple more around that was reported in different places around the country. So I went to this one, and there was a few hundred people there, maybe. I didn't get an actual head count, but there was a few hundred people there, and they had the people out there flying their flags and putting up their little tables and all of that, and basically screaming at the federal building like the feds really got to care what they have to say. What's one thing do you guess that wasn't present at that entire gathering?
An American flag?
Not a single one.
There you go.
There was an Antifa flag. There was socialist flags. There were communist flags. There was a communist socialist flag from the rebellion in the Philippines. I actually had to go up and ask them what that was, because I hadn't seen that one before. There was all these trans rights and gay rights, and that's just like, okay, what about hardworking American rights who don't live in these big major cities that have nothing to do with this? Didn't want to answer. Some guy had an F Trump shirt, and I went up to him and asked him, okay, why F Trump? Well, because he's full of shit. Okay, why? Why is he full of shit? Well, just because he is. Okay, well, give me a reason. And then when I was talking to the guy, somebody else pulled him aside and said, don't talk to him. And I was just like, wait a minute, I'm asking a legitimate question. Make your case. If you're going to put this out there, make your case.
There is no case.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it. Guy absolutely refused to make his case. He just wanted to be mad at something, and I guess Donald Trump was his thing. So, a lot of those videos you see that are out there where they're out there protesting, but none of them can ever make a case for what their point of view is. That was there. That was, to me, was great, and it was really funny. the girl that was telling me about what the flag was from the revolution in the Philippines, when I asked her, okay, so this is socialism and communism, this is what this represents, and she had a smile on her face, and she was like, oh yes, it's socialism and the communists. I'm like, and you're smiling and you're happy about that. These people, the ones in charge of it, I have a feeling know exactly what they're doing because they're being paid, and it's been proven already. Just like that guy David Hogg from the Florida shooting, who was being plastered all over CNN all the time as the voice of reasonable gun control in America.
Right, absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I guarantee you,
unbelievable.
the people that organize this are getting funding from the same Soros groups that he's getting money from. But those other people who are standing out on the streets, the soy boys, and the ultra feminazis who are out there, they have no idea what they just want to be angry at something. They have no idea exactly what they're asking for. Oh, we're asking for equal rights, and we're asking for this kind of rights and equality and the pay gap and every other thing that they can possibly mention. But they want to do it through socialism and communism. They don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about. They want to see a perfect example of socialism and communism. Go to Venezuela. They're eating the animals in the zoos. Okay, they're fleeing into Colombia right now because their government there is so messed up. They're starving to death. I watched a video about a week ago about some of the zoos there. Their animals are all skeletons at this point because they can't feed them, and the animals are starting to eat each other because they're so hungry. They can't grow anything because the second that they do, the government comes in and clamps down on them and starves them out again. I mean, this is what Khrushchev was doing to the people in Ukraine when he wanted to impress Joseph Stalin. He starved them out. He killed 2.5 million people, starved them to death because every time somebody tried to grow something, they sent their troops in and either killed them and mashed their farms up or just watched them die anyway. So, these people running around in these marches, I mean, just the fact that there was no American flag there and there was all these communist and socialist flags, it tells you exactly what these people want. They're not hiding it very well, even if they're trying to. And of course, there was the obligatory "We hate Trump" signs all over the place, just like I was telling you about that one guy with the shirt. So I absolutely have absolutely no respect for these people whatsoever because they're just blindly ignorant about what they want.
Not only that, though, Nick, it's not natural, man. It's total astroturf, and that's another totally obvious thing. I mean, there's no grassroots F Trump type people out there. It's all organized. Oh no, even when back when Occupy LA was going on, there was a lot of. I know Bob was there with us, and I was down there a bunch of times doing the End the Fed. But the first time that I went down there, I walked around and watched what was going on, and I watched some of the people that were organizing some of the people there. They were talking to people, and they'd do that little wiggle fingers wave to show their support and all of that. And the only thing I got out of that was this is way too organized to be grassroots. Okay, there's no way that this is a grassroots movement with people. The way that the people who are getting these groups together, the way they were speaking, the way they were acting, how they were framing what they were supposed to do. That's not a grassroots movement. That's not something that came up all of a sudden. That was well planned ahead of time. Well, and I mean, who could watch those protesters and go, "Yeah, man, I want to be with them. I want to be just like them." I mean, who could do that in their right mind?
Well, apparently some people can because they keep doing it. But what's funny to me now is a lot of these protesters, and so many people are fed up with it. These protesters, especially Antifa, they're getting their ass handed to them because people are tired of them. They can, and it's funny to watch because they had one Antifa group. They pepper sprayed this one guy. I mean, he was a big guy, and he started smacking the hell out of a few of them. They started running away, and this one girl was screaming, "Why are you doing this?" It's like, you sprayed me with pepper spray. Well, but I don't see why you have to hit me.
Well, what's kind of scary with the Antifa guys, and yeah, like they are stringy, like on a physical match. There's no way they can fight, but they're crazy enough, and they've been desensitized enough, since birth and as kids, through television and video games that I think, you put a weapon in their hand or a gun, and it's already been shown, like just with, the chain locks or the lock chains getting hit in the head and stuff. Boy, right. If they get deadly weapons, I think look out, because that's their mentality.
Well, yeah, and the thing about it is they're supposed to be the ones protesting against people having firearms.
I know, man, it's crazy.
But they show up down in Texas. I saw some of the video that Owen and Joe Biggs had done when they were reporting on for some InfoWars. Some of these protests that were going down in Austin, they showed up with weapons. They showed up with rifles, and so did the people who were on the conservative side. They showed up with weapons too, and it's legal to open carry there, so that wasn't a big deal. But can you imagine if one of these? I mean, you're gonna wind up with a lot more shootings if Antifa really starts going off the hook, if their antidepressants really kick in the way that they're going to.
Well, they were already kind of carrying them in a menacing way, pretty much, with their finger on the bloody trigger
yeah.
also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
trying to intimidate people.
Gun safe. Yeah, but you notice, too, that Antifa only protests in places where they know they're not going to get in trouble, where nobody's going to really fight back in the big cities and all of that. I guarantee you, they came out to where I live in Wisconsin now, and they showed up and started doing that. Either the people who live there are going to shoot them, or the cops are, because they're not putting up with it. They don't get that kind of mentality. Somebody running through your town, breaking up your windows and setting your cars and your buildings on fire, that's not going to get tolerated real quick. You're going to see a lot of people come out of the woodwork and just put these people down.
And it's the mayors that are Antifa friendly that order the cops to stand down in those towns, and then Antifa's just like, woohoo, let's do whatever we want.
Yeah, and again, it goes back, they have no fear of getting in trouble. And again, this feminazi march that I went to, I mean, they can scream at the top of their lungs and have. I mean, there were a lot of cops around for God knows whatever reason to control the crowd. I mean, nobody was really going to fight them, because apparently nobody's really all that interested in it anymore. They've really burned themselves out, and they've burned out everybody else. Everybody's like, you know what? I got a job to go to. I got a mortgage to pay. I like having electricity and eating food. So I'm not really going to worry about your little protest march in downtown Los Angeles this time.
Well, and that's it. And these kids, they have never had like a real life or a real job. The first thing they really start to learn is social justice. And it's like that's the first thing that they get taught and, are concerned about. And it's not been a good thing so far.
Yeah, there was a school when I was living in Pacoima. There was a middle school right down the street from my house on Glen Oaks Boulevard, and they had
Pacoima or Maclay.
Yeah, in Pacoima. Yeah, it was Maclay Middle School or something like that. They had a huge banner put up that said "Social Justice Academy." It was like a summer class, and I was like, "You got to be kidding!" and so this is what they're being taught. They're being taught in schools all the time. I mean, we're seeing the videos pop out all the time of these professors who are totally left-wing indoctrination idiots, and they're just running the country down. And kids come out, they want a good grade. They want that degree that they're paying for, their parents are paying for. And so when they finally come out on the other end of the college, and they get their degree, they're completely brainwashed. I have talked to so many people. I have a degree in this. It's like, I don't care. Listen to your argument. You're not making any sense. And their only reply is, they can only parrot the talking points that they've been told over and over and over and over again. And when you start to show that their arguments really don't hold any water, it's like, well, here's the proof. I mean, let's for one instance, let's just take the gun issue. And I got into it with somebody, and I was talking about, okay, the reason we have firearms, the second, here's why the Second Amendment was written. Okay, we just kicked England to the curb because they were completely tyrannical. They were starting to put way too much pressure on the colonies. They enacted a stamp tax, which was what pushed everything over the edge. But what they did was they also marched their troops in and were starting to disarm everybody. Okay, that wasn't going to happen. Okay, so the Second Amendment's put in place so that the people of the country would be able to stand up against a tyrannical government. No, that's not. It's for the militia. Okay, let's go over this again. Show me where the right of the militia is written in the Constitution anywhere. Of course, they can't prove it. And the further and further we got into this, the worse and worse the debate started getting, because they could not hold up their end of the argument, and especially when I pointed out during the 20th century, just the 20th century alone. I don't even usually go back any further than that, although there are other examples. But okay, let's start with the 20th century, the Armenian genocide. Okay, let's go into World War II and the Holocaust. Let's go into Cambodia. Let's go into China. Let's go into the USSR. Let's go into Uganda. Okay, 150 to 200 million people who were disarmed previously by their own governments were executed by their own governments. Oh, you're just cherry picking bits and pieces of history.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, that's the mentality they have. I simply cherry picked the entire 20th century.
Well, and not just that, they don't know anything about guns. They don't know any gun terminology. They can't even come up with a coherent argument. And that's okay, because we all know they don't care about that, because what they want to do is ban guns in the end. I mean, it's so simple to see.
Feinstein had already said that. And if anybody really wants to find out what their agenda is, and Feinstein has already tipped her hand anyway when she said if she could have picked up 51 votes, she would have had Mr. and Mrs. America turn in all your guns.
Oh, did you see her rub her hands together when Trump was talking about doing a little gun control there? The way she is rubbing her hands, she's just like, oh, yes.
She's evil. She's worse than the Wicked Witch of the West.
Totally. It was brutal.
Yes, but I mean, that right there is. I mean, look at DeLeon, this idiot in California who's running for Feinstein's seat. And by the way, if anybody doesn't understand California politics, if you don't live here, come November, California is about to get a hell of a lot worse.
Because, so if you don't live there, don't move there either.
Yeah, don't move there. Dianne Feinstein couldn't get the Democrat Party endorsement because she's not left enough. She's not far enough to the left. Okay, go figure the crop of politicians.
That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, go figure the crop of politicians that are coming up behind her.
Right.
Okay, they're going to be so much worse. California is so screwed. And the thing that really drives me nuts, I didn't leave California because I hate California. I hate the people that are running it.
Well, you know what? Right. Here it is. I mean, so, this cannot be a mistake. So this has to be, as far as I'm concerned, part of Agenda 21 and getting people, like they want actually people to move out of California.
Maybe. But I have a feeling that they really do want I mean, George Soros has been spreading money all over the country trying to make sure that his kind of politicians get elected, and he's going for the juggler. He's going for the attorney generals, district attorney generals, state attorney generals, and making sure they get in, because they're the ones who are going to start making case law. For whatever reason, people will listen to the Justice Department, even if they're completely wrong, even if there's no law made on it. They can make case law, but they're really are being funded by the globalists, and they really are drooling at the mouth for the very first full communist state in America to happen. And once that happens, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Then, because they have all that sanctuary state, and this is just kind of my opinion on it, they have that sanctuary state. A lot of the illegal immigrants are going into California. Okay, we have enough votes there. We can move over to Texas, and let's start moving Texas to the left. And I guarantee you, if Texas turns blue, you'll never get another libertarian. You'll never get another Republican for whatever they happen to be worth, which isn't much in my opinion either. You'll never get another constitutional president or politician or anybody in Washington, D.C. in a general election, because they will. If California and Texas both vote the same way, and they know this, this country is pretty much going to fall into a civil war. That's almost a guarantee. I mean, it's going to come down to shooting, and I'm considering what I've seen from some of these soy boys and feminists. I'm not really worried about them at all. I'm just worried about them turning our own troops on us, which is one of the safeguards that we have in the United States, is that our troops are not supposed to be used against our own civilian population. One of the things Obama did while he was in office was, when he fired a whole bunch of generals, from what I remember reading, was he was questioning some of the top generals, saying, would you open fire on the civilian population? If they said no, they didn't get the job or they got fired. If they said yes, they got promoted and were put in charge. So, I'm really hoping Donald Trump realizes this and maybe starts cleaning house that way too, and really puts the Pentagon on notice and saying, we're not playing this game anymore. This is one of the things that he's really got to get rid of in the NDAA also, is that indefinite detention clause. It got shoved in there and hasn't been removed since. And it's been debated every time. I mean, Rand Paul brings it up every single time that the NDAA comes up for a revote.
You know what I'm thinking? He might be keeping some of those things in to use actually against, some of the big players up there. And then after he takes care of them, then maybe, do away with it.
But he's not going to be very effective if he gets voted out, though. So I think he's actually really trying to get it out of there as fast as he can. But the problem is you got people like Mitch McConnell, who's the Senate Majority Leader, and a bunch of the other old establishment crones, for some reason, keep getting elected. Regardless of what they do, they keep getting elected because they keep pushing that. Well, what are you going to do? Elect a Democrat? At this point, it doesn't really make any difference. Both parties are exactly the same.
And just like,
by the way,
fraud. I mean, that's going on all the time.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sorry, Wendy.
Is Bob on the line? Cousin Bob, are you listening?
No,
Bob is going to be doing a UF show from Japan. So I'm wondering if he could give out the website real quick. Bob, are you listening?
I don't think he's here.
Bob is not here.
Bob's not here. Well, Bob is going to do a UFO. I don't know if he mentioned that to you, Nick. I meant to.
We'll get the link to it, and then
okay, and then we'll put it up on our site.
Yeah,
okay.
We can always put it up. And
so we will do that for Bob. Okay, go ahead. Please were saying about the thing. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, we're getting railed about everything, and with the NDAA and all that indefinite detention, we really got to clamp down on some of these. I mean, matter of fact, my congressman that I have now, he's actually he's a good guy. I like him. I've met him. I've talked with him. Even as much as I really wanted to get away from politics after I got out of RPLAC, I still, for some reason, I still gravitate towards it and get sucked into it. But I've talked with him. But when he's coming up for election this year, and the only thing that I can ask him is why should I vote for you? He's voted to expand the federal government. I don't know if he's actually voted, but he supported it with the when we had that guy on last fall about the marine sanctuaries.
Yeah.
He voted in favor of expanding the federal budget, which puts us another $1 trillion in debt instead of being fiscally conservative. And on a slew of other issues that I don't really need to deal with too much here, but. This is what people, when they go to vote, you got to look, put the party aside. Get rid of the party. Don't even consider Republican or Democrat. Look at where I would have voted for Dennis Kucinich. He's the only Democrat that I've ever liked ever. You know, he wasn't 100. I wasn't 100% on the guy, but he was actually a pretty decent guy. I don't even like voting for the Republicans anymore. You know, and again, it drives me nuts that people want to get into this, the party, you know, I got to vote for the party and you know, everything is about the party. It's not anymore. Okay. We can't even afford to keep thinking like that anymore. We got to have more the mentality of look at who the guy is, look at the candidate, and pay attention to the candidate. That's who you got to vote for.
Yeah. Forget about the team.
Well, yeah.
Go for the player.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. But, because this is how come we wind up with Neil Kashkari as a candidate for governor of California. And if anybody doesn't,
do we have any? Is it Newsom running for governor? Is he Republican?
Gavin Newsom is going to be running for governor of California. And if everybody thinks that Jerry Brown was bad, Gavin Newsom is worse. That guy is
and he's a Republican?
No, he's a Democrat.
Oh, he's a Democrat. Newsom's a Democrat.
He is a far left.
So who is Republican running?
I don't really even have any idea. I haven't been paying attention. I know who's running for lieutenant governor, a friend of ours, David Hernandez.
David Hernandez, and that's going to be a really good. I'm absolutely going to vote for David.
It's hard to believe that there can actually be worse people to
I know.
Run, you know, wow.
Isn't it amazing that when you think it's as bad as it can't get any worse than this? They prove you wrong.
Because Steve Argos is also running. That guy's just you talk about bottom of the barrel.
Well, he's not going to win, so that's not even an issue. Gavin Newsom is so far ahead. He's got the party backing. He's got money flowing in from everywhere because everybody knows that the guy's a flat out communist and you know they want to push the guy. I mean, he was the mayor of San Francisco. How far more left can you get than that? You know, but. You know, like I said, if you thought Jerry Brown was bad, this guy is going to be that much worse. I mean, I almost guarantee you within a decade, California is going to economically collapse and they're going to go running to the federal government. Give us some money to bail us out. And I really hope they don't. I hope California bites it big time. All right, everybody, that's our show, and we will catch you next week.